a very important aspect that people don't really talk about, and that is finding your style. Your style is how you fight. Let's write some examples of what it could potentially be. Number 1, you could be more of a striker. Number 2, you could be more of a wrestler. That's going to annoy me, OCD, let's make that a capital letter. You could be more of a submission artist. Submission artist. Or you could be an all-rounder. Now, within those 4 sort of styles that I put down, there's a lot more, but there's styles within that. For example, a striker. You could be more of a boxer. You could have a taekwondo style. You could have a kicking style, more Muay Thai sort of fighting. For a wrestler, you could be a Greco style wrestler. You could be a freestyle wrestler. You could be very good at countering off strikes. Submission artist, you could be top heavy. You could be bottom heavy. We do some examples. Tony Ferguson, he likes it from bottom, 10th planet style. But if you are Khabib or Islam, they like the top heavy pressure. So your style is how you fight. And this is where I believe your amateur career is to find your style. Now my style in the first 3 fights, I thought I was a striker. But then I tried to change my game into more of an MMA style. And I thought I was a bit of an all-rounder. But I always tried to wrestle. I always tried to take someone down within a round. That's just because how I trained. I trained to go for a takedown every single round in the year 2019. And because of that, it followed over to 2020 and 2021. So for 3 years, I'd go for a takedown a round. And the reason I did that, I wanted to improve my wrestling. If I didn't do that, I would not have improved my wrestling. So I focused my efforts into radically changing my wrestling skills. Now, because of that, that made my style of fights very similar. But the thing is, it wasn't the best style, I don't think, for me. After I started having more amateur fights, I'd beat them on the feet, and then I'd take them down once I've rocked them. And really, I should have just carried on beating them. And really, the last amateur fight, I think I found my ground. I found my style. And that is to be a nasty bastard. It's to strike, calf kick. Obviously, you can't elbow in amateur, but it would be to elbow now. And it would be to do anti-grappling. If I take someone down, don't try and hug them, which I did in the past. Just try and beat them up. And if they get up, let them up and strike again. So now in my pro career, I'll come out to strike. I don't mind it going into the wrestling exchanges because I'm experienced within those fields as well. But I will go to strike mainly. I will then wrestle for anti-wrestling purposes. If they try and take me down, I will try and anti-wrestle. I don't mind being on the ground because I love ground and pound as well. But for me, I will get them more tired with the striking. The first round, I probably won't wrestle too much. I might start wrestling later on. But for me, I want to cause maximum damage because I want my fights to be entertaining and I want people to want to come and watch me because that is what's going to sell tickets. So you've got to really find out, how do you like to fight? Ask yourself the question, how do you like to fight? What do you like to do? Now, I don't mean what are you good at yet. I mean, how do you like to fight and what do you like to do? Now, if you're an amateur, it doesn't matter what you're good at because we can work upon that. If you're professional, you still can, but obviously those fights are going to mean a lot more to your record. Now, if you like to fight like Conor McGregor, you want to fight similar to how he fights. Now, you should be sparring and you should be training towards that style of fighting. Now this one, use someone famous. Use someone famous. Pick someone famous. Just list 5 famous fighters in the UFC. Max Holloway, I like him. Justin Gaethje, I like him. Rafa Fies, I like him. I like Dominic Cruz, and I like TJ Dillashaw. I like Nate Diaz. That's 6. So there's 6 sort of fighters I like. Majority of them, they're a striker. They're unorthodox. Some of them will mix it up as well, but none of them I went with heavy wrestlers there. Now, I'm going to put, what do I personally like? So you see there, what do I like? So what do I like to do in my spar? And now if they both align, that's what I've got to aim for. So now, you've got to aim towards doing that. So you've got to find some goals within training that are to do with your style of fighting. Because then you are going to spar in that style of fighting. You can spar completely different, but however you spar is going to correlate to how you fight. So pick a style, stick with it, and pick one that suits well for you personally, your body type, and your personality. Because there's nothing worse than having a style that doesn't match you. It's like when people come into a conversation or they come into a friendship and give you a fake personality just to fit in. It just doesn't work. It's not very well. Get your style, stick with it, and do that until the end, and that's how you're going to get to the UFC. People don't change their styles too much. They might have a wide range of skills, but you want to stick to your style and just pick points that you want to change for certain opponents. Because I find when you're trying to change your game for a particular fight, you end up concentrating on them and not concentrating on you. And really, you should go in every fight concentrating what you're going to do and your strengths, and not worry about the strengths of your opponent, because you should be thinking about what you can control, not what they can control. Bish, bash, bosh, pow!